This is most likely a whole bunch of plastic, but I love it. I'm going to hold on to it right now because even if it's not real turquoise, it makes me think of turquoise. And it makes me think of what turquoise makes me think of. And it was a gift from a grandmother, and it makes me think of what that makes me think of. And I realize after saying the shout to the dads, I need to practice my preaching and hold duality. And duality for me this time isn't about good, bad. It's about things like masculine, feminine, for example. So I'm reflecting on how, and this is easy stuff to humanize or access my mother's love, because I traumatized my mom. I'm not going to say I didn't. I was horrible to her, but in my mind, I always knew that I was the villain. Like, this isn't okay. And I always held her as this angel on earth in my heart. So it was, that's easy stuff, like accessing mother's love. That's easy stuff. When you have a relationship with your mother like I do, I don't know why it took me 30 something years, but it was hard. It wasn't easy. And in comparison to what I need to do moving forward with duality and with accessing where it came from and how healing that is, I need to access that Y chromosome on a human level, because I got super baked. I can't remember which one it was that I did the first flower and sat down and played a song, and then I tried the second type, and as I take that first puff, for some reason I'm remembering moccasins and leather that my father learned how to hand tan and stitch together and make moccasins when he was a young man. I remember those moments that he was so human, and he snuck me out to sneak coffee. In a Mormon household, coffee's not cool, especially not if you're a kid. But he would take me out and he would we would go to Barnes and Noble, and he would buy me espresso. This was when I was sort of budding as a foodie, and it was meaningful. Books are so meaningful, and he made contact with that. He knew that. Yeah, he's a train wreck, but so am I. And I'm making space. It's kind of backwards in a way. We can't love others until we actualize a sense of belonging and love, self-esteem, self-respect for ourselves that we can cultivate, we can draw from within always. We can't love somebody else properly until we self-actualize in those ways. And I say that what I'm about to say is kind of backwards in that way, is that we can't love ourselves properly until we can make peace. And I have it easy. Where I came from, yes, everybody was white and Christian. Yes, there was a lot of ugliness. But that's everywhere. That's part of the human experience, and the human experience isn't broken. That's what I keep trying to tell myself. That's the point of this. Duality isn't good, bad. Because when we talk about duality, we're talking about making space for both
masculine and feminine within every person, every situation. I don't know if that makes sense to you. It makes sense to us now, future self. And if if you weren't as lucky as me, not future self, somebody else who's looking in, if you're not as lucky as I was, and you didn't have these very human train wrecks that you can touch that, you can find that there's the humanness in you, that you can find that chromosome and you can love it. Like, if you can't, then forgive. I know it's not easy, but you can't start loving yourself. You can't actualize in that way until, if you can't love, then forgive. And I promise you that love is so big and weird and crazy and confusing that start with forgiveness and you will find a way to make love out of something that came out of that. And it will be big. It will be big enough. You won't settle for forgiveness. I haven't spoken to my father. I haven't spoken about my father in a really long time. I haven't touched that Y chromosome in a long time. I haven't even, not even in me, so holy moly. It's not bad. These tears aren't, they're not distressing me. This feels really good. And I'm so grateful for these times. They're scary. I don't know, next week, like any time that I could just stop getting material resources, and I don't know what to do next most of the time, but I'm so grateful for the ability to hold space for this kind of work, because I don't think that I could touch that chromosome if I continued the rat race, because I don't do the rat race right. My sensory experience is such that it's been hard to learn, and that's okay. As long as we're still breathing, we're still figuring this shit out. So keep breathing, future self and everyone else. Keep breathing.